The chamber of the Galactic Council stood high above the clouds of Uran Prime. Its walls glowed with crystal light, and voices from hundreds of worlds echoed within. Tall banners of alien races hung from the ceiling, showing their power and unity. For centuries, this council ruled the galaxy without challenge. Every race obeyed its laws, fearing punishment if they stepped out of line. Now a new race stood at their gates: humans. The council had watched humanity spread like wildfire across nearby stars. In only a few generations, humans had claimed dozens of planets. They mined asteroids, built cities on barren moons, and even terraformed harsh worlds that others had abandoned. To the elder races, this growth was alarming. "They are reckless," hissed Counselor Vark, his silver scales glittering as he spoke. "They expand without asking. They build without permission. They must be reminded who holds true authority." Many nodded in agreement. Other races feared what humans might become if left unchecked. For them, the solution was simple: summon the humans, place limits on their growth, and if they resist, crush them with the combined fleets of the galaxy. Admiral Ross entered the chamber with a calm face. He wore a simple black uniform with a silver crest of Earth on his chest. Behind him walked two aides, both silent, both watching carefully. Ross looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of the alien leaders who sat in curved rows above him. He did not bow. He did not look nervous. His steady gaze made the counselors shift uncomfortably. "You asked for my people," Ross said. His voice carried through the chamber. "So here I am." The council leader, a tall being with golden skin named Rilan, rose from his seat. "Admiral Ross," he said with slow words, "you stand before the guardians of peace. Your species has been observed. You grow too fast, too far, too wild. Such expansion is dangerous. We cannot allow it." Ross's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. "Dangerous to who? We build homes. We plant food. We trade where others refuse to go. Where is the danger in living free?" A wave of laughter broke out among the council members. "Free," hissed Vark again. "You mistake chaos for freedom. If every race did what humans do, there would be no balance. No order. You are children playing with fire." Ross took a step forward. The chamber lights reflected in his eyes. "Children? My people tamed oceans, deserts, and skies long before we left Earth. We have faced storms, plagues, and endless wars. We do not bend easily." The words carried weight, but the counselors only smirked. They whispered among themselves, convinced that humans were simply trying to act strong. To them, it was nothing more than a bluff. Rilan raised his hand, and silence returned. "You have been given this chance to accept our guidance. If you agree, the Council will protect your worlds and keep peace. But you must limit your colonies, share your fleets with us, and submit to Council law. That is the offer. Refuse, and you will regret it." Ross stood still for a long moment. His aides glanced at him, but he gave no sign of fear. Instead, he slowly walked to the center of the chamber. "You think we came here begging for your mercy," he said. His voice was calm, but firm, like steel hidden under cloth. "But we came here to give a warning. Do not mistake patience for weakness. Humanity wants peace, but we will never bow. If you force our hand, you will learn who we truly are." The council chamber filled with murmurs. Some laughed again, waving his words away. Others narrowed their eyes, sensing something behind his tone. But no one truly believed him. Rilan sat down, his golden eyes shining with pride. "Your words are loud, but your fleets are small. You may leave now, Admiral Ross. The Council has spoken. Your threats mean nothing." Ross nodded once. He turned without another word and left the chamber. His aides followed quickly. Behind them, the alien leaders continued their laughter, convinced that humanity had tried and failed to scare them. Outside the chamber, Ross walked into the bright halls of the council tower. His aide whispered, "They don't believe us, sir." Ross stopped by a window overlooking the endless city of Uran Prime. His reflection showed a tired man, but his eyes burned with resolve. "Good," he said quietly. "Let them believe we are bluffing. Soon, the truth will come." The council thought they had shown their strength. But Ross knew a storm was already building back home. Humanity would not be chained. And the galaxy would soon learn that humans were not children with fire, they were fire itself. The council chamber was still buzzing long after Admiral Ross left. Alien voices rose and fell in sharp tones, echoing across the glowing walls. Some counselors mocked his warning. Others shrugged as if his words were air. Only a few sat in silence, unsettled by the fire in the humans' eyes. "Empty words," said Vark, his silver scales catching the crystal light. "They speak of storms, but they have no thunder. Their fleets are small. Their weapons are old. They cannot harm the council." Rilan, the golden-skinned leader, raised his hand for calm. "Do not waste more thought on them. The humans will either obey or break. Either way, they will be contained." The council moved on to other matters, but whispers of Ross's warning traveled through the corridors. Even among alien aides and guards, questions grew. Who were these humans who dared speak to the council without fear? Far above the city, Ross's ship waited in orbit. Inside the command deck, Ross stood at the wide viewing glass, watching Uran Prime's skies glow with hundreds of ships. His aide, a young officer named Lena, stepped forward. "They laughed at us, sir," she said. "They think we are weak." Ross did not turn. His eyes stayed fixed on the fleets below. "Good. Let them laugh. That gives us more time." "Do you think they will act soon?" she asked. Ross finally looked at her. "They already decided. The council never calls a meeting unless they want to deliver orders, not listen. They will move to limit us. Patrols, sanctions, maybe even fleets. They think we will bow quietly." Lena's jaw tightened. "And we won't." Ross's silence was answer enough. Back in the chamber, Counselor Vark spoke again, his voice sharp as glass. "I say we send fleets to their borders at once. Crush their colonies before they believe they are strong. Do not let them spread further." Others agreed. But one counselor, a feathered being named Mora, raised her wings. "I caution restraint. The humans are new, yes, but they are stubborn. Even in their short time among stars, they have grown faster than most. What if their words were not bluff?" The hall filled with laughter again. Rilan shook his head. "You give them too much credit, Mora. They are ambitious, not powerful. The galaxy has seen many young races rise with fire, only to burn out quickly. The council will outlast them, as it always does." But Mora's feathers twitched with unease. Something in Ross's voice lingered in her mind. It was not the loudness of his warning, it was the calm way he spoke it. Not like a man bluffing, but like a man waiting. Meanwhile, on the journey back to human space, Ross called a private meeting with his officers inside the ship's war room. A holographic map of council territories glowed above the table, filled with colored lines and fleets. "They will test us soon," Ross said. His voice was low, steady. "They think we are not ready, but our people have been preparing for years. Earth and Mars are no longer alone. Colonies at Vega, Haven, and Orion hold fleets of their own. Factories on the moons build ships day and night." One officer leaned forward. "Do you believe they will attack directly, sir?" "They won't call it attack," Ross replied. "They'll call it peacekeeping. They'll say it's for order. But it will be the same patrols entering our space, blocking our trade, forcing us to kneel." "And when that happens?" another officer asked. Ross's eyes hardened. Then we remind them that humans never kneel. The room fell silent. Each officer felt the weight of his words. The galaxy thought of humanity as a small voice, unworthy of respect. But Ross and his people carried something far more dangerous than fleets or weapons. They carried resolve. Back on Uran Prime, Morrow lingered in the council halls long after the meeting. She looked out at the glowing city, its towers reaching like crystal spears into the clouds. The council believed its rule was unshakable. Yet Morrow remembered the look in the human's eyes. It was not the look of a desperate man. It was the look of one who already held the answer to the council's pride. Perhaps, she whispered to herself, we have made a mistake. But her voice was lost in the endless noise of the city. As Ross's ship left orbit and disappeared into the dark, a shadow spread quietly across the stars. The council believed humans were bluffing. The council believed humans were children. But the warning had been spoken, and warnings, once ignored, often became storms. The human ship crossed back into known space, leaving the golden skies of Uran Prime behind. Admiral Ross sat in his command chair, silent, as stars stretched into lines across the viewing glass. Around him, the crew worked in steady rhythm, their faces calm but their eyes sharp. They all understood what had happened at the council. The message was clear: limits would soon be forced on humanity. Ross spoke at last. Send word to Earth Command. The council will not wait long. We must prepare every colony. Yes, sir, Lena replied, her fingers dancing across the console. Back on Earth, the leaders of humanity met in a vast hall beneath the city dome of New Geneva. The air was tense. Reports flowed in: alien fleets seen near human borders, trade lanes slowed, supplies blocked. The council called it peacekeeping, but to human eyes, it was pressure. They test us, said General Malik, his deep voice carrying across the table. They send ships to remind us of their power. They want us to bend before they strike. Others nodded. Farmers from Mars spoke of food shipments delayed. Miners from the belt told of patrols stopping their haulers. Colonists from Vega warned that alien scouts had entered their skies. Ross's voice came through the hololink, calm as ever. This is only the beginning. They believe we will give up. But they do not understand us. They do not understand what it means to be human. On the colony world of Vega, settlers gathered in the main square. Families stood together, their faces set with quiet defiance. The council patrol had demanded tribute, half of the colony's fuel reserves, to be shared with the greater galaxy. But the settlers refused. Instead, they built barriers, powered up defense grids, and trained with whatever weapons they had. A young colonist named Daniel stood on a platform, speaking to the crowd. They think we are weak because we are far from Earth. They think we will bow because no one stands beside us. But we are not alone. Humanity is one. Every colony, every home, every soul stands together. If they strike one of us, they strike all of us. Cheers rose from the crowd, not loud and wild, but steady and strong, like the beating of a drum. Far away, inside the shining halls of the council, fleets were already moving. Dozens of ships flew toward human borders, their banners glowing with the mark of the council. To the alien commanders, this was routine. They had tamed countless young races before. Why should this one be different? Counselor Vark watched the fleets depart and smiled. Let us see if their fire lasts when faced with steel. But Counselor Mora did not smile. She remembered Ross's words, and she could not shake the calm in his eyes. She spoke softly to Rilan, the leader. We may be making them stronger. Pressure creates resistance. The more we press, the harder they will fight. Rilan shook his head. You give them too much credit. They are new to the stars. They will learn their place. Mora said no more, but in her heart, unease grew. On Mars, engineers worked without rest in underground shipyards. Great steel hulls rose under firelight, while sparks flew from welding beams. New rail cannons were tested, their thunder echoing across the domes. Pilots trained in silence, running drills day and night. There was no cheering, no celebration, only steady work, fueled by quiet resolve. Ross toured one of the yards upon his return. He walked past lines of new ships, their frames still raw, their engines untested. He placed his hand on the cold metal and spoke to the workers. Every ship you build is a shield for our children. Every weapon you craft is a promise that we will not bow. The council believes we are bluffing. Let them believe it. When the time comes, they will learn the truth. The workers straightened, their tired eyes burning brighter. They did not ask for war, but they would not run from it. Across human space, the same spirit spread. Colonists dug bunkers, farmers stored food, families prepared for dark days. But no one spoke of surrender. They spoke only of standing together. And as the fleets of the council drew closer, a shadow of war stretched across the stars. The galaxy believed it was about to teach humanity a lesson. But in truth, humanity was the one preparing to teach the galaxy. The council thought humans were bluffing. Soon, they would discover the cost of that mistake. The colony of Vega lay on the edge of human space, a world of red soil and wide skies. Its people were tough, shaped by harsh seasons and long workdays. They built their homes from stone and metal dug from the ground, and they guarded their land with pride. To them, freedom was not a word but a way of life. One clear morning, the sky above Vega filled with shadows. A fleet of alien patrol ships entered orbit, their silver hulls glinting in the light of the red sun. Their banners shone with the mark of the council. To the settlers below, it was not a sign of peace but of control. The largest ship broadcast a message across the colony. The alien commander's voice echoed from loudspeakers. People of Vega, you now fall under the order of the Galactic Council. Half of your fuel and supplies will be taken as tribute. This is the price of peace. Refuse, and you will be punished. The settlers gathered in the square. Their leader, an older man named Jonas, looked up at the sky. His face was weathered by years of labor, but his eyes held the same fire that burned in every colonist. He spoke into the comms, his voice steady. We are free people. We kneel to no council. You will take nothing from us. The alien commander laughed, the sound sharp and cold. You are children standing against the storm. Do not test us. But Jonas did not flinch. He turned to his people. Activate the defenses. Hidden along the ridges of the colony, panels rose from the ground. Old rail guns, built from mining equipment, turned toward the sky. Shields, patched together from scrap and human ingenuity, shimmered faintly. Vega was not rich, and it was not mighty, but its people were clever. They would fight with whatever they had. The alien fleet moved closer. Drones descended, scanning the settlement. One colonist, a young woman named Myra, aimed a hand-built cannon at the sky. With a deep breath, she fired. The shot cut through the air, striking a drone and shattering it into pieces. The crowd cheered, their voices echoing against the cliffs. That single act lit the spark. The alien commander gave the order to advance. Fighters swept down, their beams slicing across the ground. But the settlers were ready. Shields flared, blocking the first strikes. Railguns thundered, sending slugs of iron into the sky. One alien fighter fell, smoke trailing behind it as it crashed into the desert beyond. The battle raged for hours. The colonists fought like wolves, using every rock, every trench, every scrap of cover. Families carried supplies to the fighters. Children helped reload the weapons. The people of Vega refused to bow. Finally, the alien fleet pulled back, stunned by the resistance. Dozens of their drones lay shattered. Several of their ships bore heavy scars. They had expected the colonists to surrender within minutes. Instead, they had faced fire. The alien commander's voice trembled with anger as he sent one last message. "You will regret this. The council will return with greater force. Your defiance will bring ruin upon you." But Jonas answered with calm strength. "Let them come. We will not kneel. Not today, not ever." News of the clash spread quickly across human space. From Earth to Mars, from the Belt to Orion, every colony heard the story of Vega. The council had demanded tribute, but the settlers had answered with defiance. To the humans, it was not just a battle. It was proof that they could stand. On Earth, crowds gathered in the streets. They sang, they raised banners, and they swore to support Vega. On Mars, engineers redoubled their efforts, pushing out ships faster than ever. On the Belt, miners offered their metal for weapons. Across every world, the same message grew stronger: humanity would not bend. Inside the war room on Earth, Admiral Ross received the report. He read it in silence, then looked up at his officers. His face was stern, but there was a spark in his eyes. "They thought Vega would break," he said. "But Vega stood. That spark will spread. The council believes they can scare us into obedience. Instead, they have given us unity." Lena nodded. "The first shot has been fired, sir. There is no turning back." Ross placed his hand on the glowing star map. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the room. "Then let it be known. Humanity did not start this war. But if it has come, we will finish it." In the dark reaches of space, the alien fleets regrouped. Commanders argued among themselves. Some demanded a crushing strike against humans at once. Others warned of caution. For the first time, cracks began to show within the council's pride. And on Vega, the settlers repaired their defenses, knowing the storm had only begun. But there was no fear in their hearts. Only resolve. The galaxy had thought humans were bluffing. But the people of Vega had shown the truth: humans did not bluff. Humans endured. Humans resisted. Humans fought back. And this was only the beginning. The story of Vega spread faster than light. Across every human world, whispers turned to shouts. Settlers spoke of the colonists who faced fleets and did not bend. Workers in shipyards hammered with new strength. Pilots trained harder, their eyes bright with fire. Humanity had been tested, and instead of breaking, it had grown sharper. In the war room on Earth, Admiral Ross stood before the great star map. The lines of council patrols stretched like claws into human space. Reports filled the room: more colonies threatened, more fleets gathering. But among those reports came news that filled Ross with quiet pride. Every colony was ready. Every world was united. He raised his voice so all could hear. "The council believes we are bluffing. They believe our words are wind. Now we will show them what stands behind those words. From this day, we no longer wait. Humanity will strike first." The room fell into silence, then steady nods spread across the officers. No one cheered. No one smiled. It was not a time for celebration. It was a time for resolve. The order spread through secure channels. From Mars to Orion, from the Belt to Vega, fleets rose from hidden docks. They were not massive in number compared to the Council's armadas, but they were built with care. Rail cannons lined their hulls, missiles slept in silent bays, and stealth fields shimmered faintly around them. These were not ships of pride or conquest. These were ships built for survival. On Mars, Captain Rena led her squadron into the dark. Her voice rang over comms. "Remember Vega. Remember the warning. We fight not to destroy, but to endure. We fight so our children may live free." The first strike came at the edge of Orion space. A council fleet of 20 ships moved in, expecting to find a frightened colony. Instead, human warships slid from the dark like shadows. They fired rail slugs at near light speed, tearing through shields before the aliens understood what was happening. Missiles followed, splitting into dozens of fragments that cut across enemy hulls. Within minutes, half the fleet was gone. The rest turned to flee, but human ships chased them down, vanishing again into the black after the last wreck drifted silent. The Council worlds gasped as reports arrived. The humans had not hidden. They had not begged. They had struck with precision and vanished before the larger fleets could respond. At Vega, the colonists watched the skies as human reinforcements arrived. Squadrons of sleek ships glided overhead, their engines glowing faintly. The settlers cheered, their voices carrying across the red plains. They knew now they were not alone. Humanity stood with them. Ross received the report from Orion and Vega at the same time. His expression did not change, but his voice grew heavier. This is only the first step. The Council will come with more. But now they know we are not shadows. We are fire. Back in the halls of the Council, chaos stirred. Vark slammed his scaled fists on the table. This is rebellion. This is war. Crush them before it spreads. But Mora's wings rustled uneasily. You told us they were weak. You told us they could not fight. And yet, their fleets cut ours apart. Perhaps we have underestimated them. Rilan's golden eyes narrowed. Enough. The humans have shown teeth, but we are still stronger. Assemble the grand fleets. We will show them what true power is. But even as he spoke, fear rippled through the chamber. The Council had ruled unchallenged for centuries. No young race had ever dared strike them first. And now, humans had done it and done it well. On Earth, Ra sent a message across every colony, his voice carried by hollow screens and transmitters. People of humanity. The Council thought we were weak. They thought we were divided. They thought we were bluffing. But we are none of those things. Today we showed them what it means to be human. We fight not because we want war, but because we will not live as slaves. Stand firm. Stand united. This is our time. Across the stars, humans listened. Farmers, miners, workers, soldiers, every one of them felt the truth of his words. For the first time, the galaxy did not laugh at humanity. It feared them. The first strike had been made. The first fleets had fallen. And the Council, so sure of its power, now faced something it had never seen before, an enemy that would not bow, an enemy that would not break. The galaxy had wanted to test humanity. Now, humanity was ready to test the galaxy. The Galactic Council had ruled for centuries without question. Its golden halls, its crystal towers, and its fleets stretched across the stars like an unbroken hand of power. Yet now, cracks were forming, small at first, almost invisible. But every report of human victories widened them. Councillor Vark pounded the table with his scaled fists. We underestimated them. Their fleets are fast, their weapons precise, and their colonies united. How can a race so young fight with such skill? Rilan, the council leader, stared at the glowing star maps. We cannot allow this to continue. Gather all our forces. Strike at human space with full power. Show them the council cannot be challenged. But not all councillors agreed. Mora, the feathered councillor who had long doubted the humans, spoke quietly. We did not challenge them. They challenged themselves. We provoked them, and now they have shown strength we never expected. Perhaps we should consider alliance, before it is too late. Her words caused murmurs through the chamber. Some scoffed. Others whispered in fear. The pride of the council, unbroken for centuries, was starting to crack. Far across human space, Ross observed the growing council fleets. Reports streamed in from Vega, Orion, and Mars. Human colonies were no longer isolated. They had linked their defenses, sharing ships, intelligence, and supplies. Every attempt by the Council to intimidate humanity had only strengthened their resolve. Ross turned to his officers. They are panicking. The Council has never faced resistance like this. Now we must act carefully. One mistake, and we could give them the chance to recover. But if we act wisely, we can reshape the galaxy. Lena, his aide, studied the map. They are arguing among themselves. Some fleets are ready to strike, others hesitate. It is chaos in their command. Ross nodded. Good. Let them argue. While they fight themselves, we prepare. Let humanity's unity become the Council's fear. On Vega, settlers repaired their defenses and trained new recruits. Children ran drills with guidance from veterans. Farmers became scouts. Engineers built weapons from what they could find. Every colony contributed, and every colony knew that the Council's arrogance had given them a chance to grow stronger. News of human victories and preparations spread like wildfire. Across alien worlds, some races began to question their loyalty to the Council. Why do we follow them? Asked a soldier of the Kralin Empire. We could stand with humans instead of dying in their war. Other races hesitated, fearing retaliation, but uncertainty had entered their hearts. The Council was no longer a symbol of absolute power. It had become vulnerable. In the Council chambers, Vark shouted over the murmurs of disagreement. We must act now. Strike at their capitals. Crush their fleets. Do not let them breathe. But Moira's wings twitched as she spoke again. And if we do, will we unite our races, or will we break them further? Humans are clever. Every attack we make only teaches them more. Our fleets fall, our officers die, and still, they rise. Can we afford to continue as we have? Rilan clenched his fists. Enough. Prepare the strike. But send envoys to negotiate at the same time. We must appear calm. But even as he spoke, the seeds of doubt had grown. Councillors whispered of revolt, of races leaving the alliance, of betraying fleets. The once united Council was fracturing under the pressure of a race it had thought weak. Back in human space, Ross watched the Council's disunity with quiet satisfaction. They do not know how to fight a united people, he said. They think numbers alone will win. But they forget one truth. Humanity fights together. Humanity does not fear loss. And humanity does not bow. His officers nodded, their eyes shining. The first strikes had been successful, but the true victory was not in the battles won. It was in the message sent across the stars. Humans could not be ruled, and now the Council feared it. On Earth, crowds cheered at news of Council hesitation and human successes. The people understood something their leaders always had: they were stronger together. And for the first time in galactic history, a race young and new had forced the oldest alliance to tremble. Across the shattered Council chambers, Mora whispered, "We should have listened. The humans are not just fighting. They are teaching us a lesson we may not survive ignoring." The galaxy was changing. The Council had underestimated humanity, and its arrogance had led to doubt, fear, and division. Humanity's rise was no longer a threat in the future, it was a force in the present. The storm had begun. And the Council, once untouchable, now feared the fire it had ignored. The Council chambers were quiet, but the silence was tense. For the first time in centuries, the leaders of the Galactic Council had no easy words. Fleets had been destroyed, colonies had resisted, and whispers of rebellion spread across their own worlds. Pride had cracked, and fear had settled in its place. Rilan, the Council leader, rose slowly. His golden eyes scanned the assembly. "We underestimated them," he said, voice low but firm. "They are not weak. They are not children. Humanity is unlike any race we have faced." Vark's scales shone in the dim light as he growled, "We cannot surrender. They have no right to threaten the council. Mora spread her wings and shook her head. We are not surrendering to threats. We are recognizing truth. Humans have shown strength, wisdom, and unity. They have proven they cannot be ruled. We have no choice but to accept their place among equals. The council murmured, divided. Some refused to yield, clinging to old traditions and pride. Others quietly began to draft proposals for alliance. The once mighty council realized that arrogance had led to their own vulnerability. Across human space, Ross received reports of the council's hesitation. The humans had not pressed their advantage aggressively, but the message was clear. They had shown the galaxy that they could strike with precision, resist with courage, and unite in ways the council could not predict. Ross spoke to his officers in the main war room. The council has been broken. Their fleets are scattered. Their pride is shattered. Now it is time to offer a choice: peace through respect, or chaos through their own making. Lena nodded. They will listen if we speak firmly. Ross tapped the communication console and sent a message to every council world. His voice carried across the galaxy. Leaders of the Galactic Council. Humanity never wished for war. We only sought freedom. You thought we were bluffing. You thought our words were empty. Today, the truth has been shown. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not yield. We offer you a choice: treat us as equals, or face a galaxy united behind us. The decision is yours. Silence followed the message. Across council worlds, officers and citizens alike paused. The weight of humanity's unity and resolve pressed on every mind. The council had ruled for centuries, but now it faced a new reality. On Vega, settlers watched the council's fleet movements with cautious hope. Their defenses were ready, but they did not prepare for war. They had prepared to survive and stand. Families smiled quietly, knowing their courage had shifted the balance of the galaxy. In council chambers, debate raged. Some argued for total retaliation. Others, seeing the cost, suggested negotiation. Mora spoke again. We cannot defeat them. Every attack strengthens their unity. Every threat only proves their resolve. We must choose peace or watch our empire crumble. Rylan, the leader, finally nodded. We will meet their terms. Humans will sit at the council as equals. We will recognize their colonies. We will end this conflict. The room fell into an uneasy quiet. Victory was not won with fleets or weapons alone. It was won with courage, unity, and resolve. Humanity had achieved something no other race had ever done. Back on Earth, Ross received the message. He allowed himself a small smile, but his eyes stayed steady. He turned to his officers. This is not the end. It is the beginning. Humanity will not dominate through force. We will lead through example, through courage, and through unity. The galaxy has seen what we are capable of, and they will remember it. Across the stars, fleets returned to their homes, not in defeat, but in understanding. Colonies celebrated quietly, knowing that the Council's respect was now theirs. Humanity had not destroyed the galaxy, they had changed it. In council halls, Moro looked out at the stars. Perhaps this is how the galaxy should be, she whispered. Not ruled by fear, but guided by courage and unity. And in every human world, people looked to the stars with new pride. They had faced the galaxy, stood together, and earned their place among the stars. They had proven that even a young race could change the course of history when it refused to bow. The Galactic Council had thought humanity was bluffing. They had been wrong. Humanity had not bluffed. Humanity had endured. Humanity had risen. The galaxy was no longer the same. A new order had begun, one where courage, unity, and resolve were the true measure of power. And humanity had shown the way.